Okay. Hi, I'm Caitlin. I am going to be working with you as a social worker here today at our agency. Could you remind me of your name again?
Yeah, my name is Catherine, but I go by Kate.
Hi, Kate. Nice to meet you. So before we get started, I just want to let you know of a couple of rules here that all the social workers have at the agency. Clients have the option, if they don't feel comfortable after the first session, they have the option to choose social workers. So you're not stuck with me necessarily. The other rules I just want to run by you quick here is that what we talk about in here will stay confidential. But if you express feelings that you want to hurt yourself, if you want to hurt others, or if people want to hurt you, then I would breach that confidentiality. And depending on what the situation may be, I would notify the police or family members, just as a precaution. And that's not anything to do with the relationship that you and I have. That just goes with all of the clients that the social workers here at the agency work with.
Okay.
Do you have any questions about that before we get started?
Nope.
Okay, sounds good. So, could you tell me a little bit about what is going on here in your life right now?
Yeah, sure. So, I have kind of a lot going on. I just feel like super overwhelmed, and I don't really know how to feel better. I've tried all the things. But just I am stressed out all the time. I feel like I'm constantly running from one thing to the next, and I just never catch up. There's just so much going on.
That has got to be really tough. I'm going to be writing just a couple notes as we go along, so if you just see me scratching my pen and paper here, that's why. Gosh, but stress is so challenging. What are some things that are stressful for you right now, or maybe the main stressors in your life?
Okay. Well, I just had a new baby, so that it's really stressful for me because he needs to eat every 2 or 3 hours, and I have 2 other kids, so I'm trying to take care of them, but I'm also trying to take care of the baby, and that just stresses me out because I want to be a good mom and I want to make sure I can do everything for them, but I have to wake up every 3 hours to feed the kids, so I'm just exhausted. I'm not getting any sleep at night, and yeah, that is one of the main stressors in my life. I also just started this new job, and I'm trying to figure out just navigate what the whole culture is there, and if it's somewhere I'm gonna or somewhere I'm not gonna and yeah, just trying to make sure that I fit in, but because I have to work, we need the money financially, so I get stressed out when I go to work, and then I also come home and there's so much to do with the kids, and then yeah, it just
That sounds like there's a lot on your plate right now. Wow.
wow.
So when you said that you have to provide for us,
Yeah.
who would that consist of?
Yeah, so it's me and my husband, and then our 3 kids, and then my parents live with us too.
Okay.
So
What does your husband do for a job, if you don't mind me asking?
oh yeah, that's fine. He works in an IT department
Oh wow.
for a company. I'm not really sure. I'm not a technical person, but he does IT, and whenever he tries to tell me what his job is, I don't understand. So I just tell people he does IT.
Right. That makes total sense.
Yes.
And what is your new job like?
It's kind of intense. So I'm on these care teams for these kiddos who once they're kind of out of the hospital, but they have medical issues, they still need help. So we help them out and getting set up with all their doctor's appointments and making sure everything's good with their insurance and like billing their insurance and having all of the appropriate paperwork, and then making sure they have like all the supplies in their home and the equipment that they need and all that stuff. So
Wow. That's a pretty impressive job. I'm sure that takes a lot to get used to as well, being new to the job, lots of new information to take in.
yeah, and there's all these like sick kids, and then like I have 3 kids at home, so it's like it's just a lot of needs for me, but I also am like don't want to complain because I see these other families who have all of these sick kids, and my kids aren't sick, they're fine. So it's like I don't want to seem like ungrateful because I know that I've perfectly fine, healthy kids, and I'm dealing with all these other kids who are really sick. But yeah, it's just a lot, and like trying to learn all the different like medical terminology and like all of the equipment and supplies that they need, and every insurance is different, like, so it's just a lot of learning, and it stresses me out.
That would be very stressful. I couldn't even imagine learning all of that information. I think I would be on overload, information overload. Are there any, I'm wondering if there's any other stressors going on right now in your life besides the new job and kids and
Yeah, I don't know, sometimes like, so my parents live with us, and that's just because like we wanted them to be close to our kids, and they didn't really feel comfortable being in their own house anymore.
okay.
So we have them, but that just is a lot of people in our house. That means we have 7 people in our house, and they're getting older, and so like I try and help them navigate all of their stuff and like make sure that they have all their cares taken for. And like I come from a big family, so like I have lots of aunts and uncles who are also getting older, but like their kids aren't necessarily involved, so sometimes they like talk to me or they talk to my parents, or we're trying to figure out like what they want towards the end of their life, and you know, if they're gonna want to go to a nursing home or if they're gonna stay with us, or what the best medications they need to be on are. And you know, sometimes it's just like blah, so much.
That does sound like a lot of stuff. I'm wondering if there's anything that you, or well, ignore that. Have there been any other periods in your life that you've experienced this similar amount of stress as you're experiencing right now?
I don't know, I mean, I think it was stressful, like right after I got out of school. I was working like a lot of different jobs just to try and make ends meet. But I didn't have like as much going on. No, I think this is probably the most stressed out I've ever been.
Okay, that's hard for the brand new experience too.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Has there been any activities that you've done recently that kind of help get your mind off of the stress, or help you get out of the house and just kind of get some self-care, me time?
Yeah, so I'm in a bowling league.
Okay.
I like to go do that with my friends. Yeah, it's like my one night a week away that I can go and just hang out, and I don't have to think about, you know, the kids or the house or my parents or my job. I can just go and relax, and I have like friends that I've been doing that with for quite a bit, and you know, we've all made the commitment that we're going to continue to do it because it's kind of our way to just, you know, have a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds like a great time. I've heard many great things about bowling leagues from lots of different people. I'm wondering, do you feel like that's enough time for yourself that you can kind of escape the stress? Or would it be beneficial for you to explore other options to kind of get some more self-care in?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know when I would really do it. I have to make sure my kids are all like taken care of or being watched. They're not like old enough to watch themselves. I gotta make sure like all the grocery shopping and the laundry and is done, and like the cleaning around the house. Like our house gets trashed so easily, and then I have to work and come home and make dinner. And so, yeah, like my husband on one of his nights, like he has his like basketball league that he goes and plays in, and that's like his night away. So like that's 2 nights we're gone, and then there's just 2 nights that we have to be as a family, and then on the weekends there's just lots of stuff. So I don't really know when I could have another time to
That makes sense.
do something else right now, especially I can't leave for a very long time with a newborn baby because
that makes sense. It's hard to get away from him, I'm sure. How's the transition been with the brand new baby, and how are your siblings getting along with him?
Oh gosh, the oldest one is like super great, wanting to like do everything and help out, and our middle child is just pissed off. Doesn't want to do anything with the baby, like is mad at me, like won't spend any time with me, like it's horrible, and I don't really know what to do to change it because he's like 3 and there's nothing like, I'm not gonna bribe him and say, oh, like if you come and give me a hug I'll give you a toy. Like that's not how it works.
Right.
So that is just kind of our dynamic right now, and we let it go, and that's what it is. But it's been really hard because we used to be super close, me and him, but ever since I brought the new baby home, he's just like, I don't want to deal with you, I'm pissed off.
Wow, that has got to be a hard transition on both of you.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because he doesn't feel like he's the baby anymore and the new baby's getting all the attention, but we try and like do things with him still. Yeah, I don't know.
That's nice. So prior to the baby being born, did you and the 3-year-old ever do things one-on-one, or was it predominantly family things that you would do together?
No, we do family things, but we try and like split them up too and do individual things just because, you know, they are at daycare and school all day, so there's like all these kids around with the teacher. I don't think they get a ton of one-on-one stuff. So we like to do one-on-one things. Like sometimes I'll go to like the trampoline park with the 3-year-old, and my husband will like go to the outdoor park with our oldest child, or we'll switch like the Nickelodeon Universe or whatever is in Mall of America. We've done that, but sometimes I go with our oldest. And my husband takes the 3-year-old, but we try and do, you know, one-on-one things that aren't too expensive. Just,
yeah, it can add up.
Yeah, just because that's how it is. We have to be careful.
Yeah. Have you been able to do any of those similar activities since the baby's been born?
No, not really. It's just been trying to get into our new routine and figure things out, and with newborn there isn't really a routine, so it's hard, and just trying to make sure that everything is taken care of and going back to work, and that's taken all of my time and stuff. So
so maybe in time, once that routine is established, it sounds like you might be able to do some of those more activities.
Yeah, maybe.
And then hopefully that relationship with the 3-year-old will improve.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
So how long has this new stress been occurring? Was that right around when the baby was born, or had that stress of the new job been happening before the baby was born?
No, so while I was on my maternity leave, I looked for a new job. So I
Okay.
started my new job after my maternity leave was done.
Oh wow, so this is a very new job.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so I would say since I've started there and since I had to go back to work off of my maternity leave, that's probably when things have been really not so great and I've been feeling so overwhelmed.
Right, that makes sense. It's hard to be overwhelmed with everything, but I am wondering if you've expressed these feelings of being overwhelmed to your parents or your husband at all, and what they have to say about it.
Yeah, I don't really want to worry my parents, so we don't really talk about that stuff. My husband, I don't really want to stress him out, and he thinks I worry enough a lot in the past, and sometimes he just gets upset, and I feel like he can't really handle it. When we first got married, we would be kind of open, and I would tell him about all the things I would stress about. And I think it just drove him nuts that he was having to hear it all the time. And he actually had an affair for a little bit, but then that stopped when I found out. So I don't really want to tell him because I don't want him to have an affair again.
Okay, that makes sense. How about if there's I'm wondering if there's any other close family members or friends that you spend any time with, or you're able to?
Yeah, so two of my good friends that I bowl with, I've known them for a really long time. We went to school together, high school and then college, and so we've always kind of agreed to stay close, and I talk to them, they get it, their moms too.
Okay.
So if I really need to vent and kind of just have a moment away, I can go talk to them about it.
Okay, I'm glad you have those close supports. Would you ever feel comfortable expressing this new stress with those friends?
Yeah, I have. They're just really busy too, so trying to just sometimes connect with them since I had the baby it's just hard to find it in all of our schedules. And at the bowling alley, there are other people around, so I don't necessarily want to go into deep stuff about it, but yeah, we usually try and get out, but we haven't since I've had the baby. We haven't had an outing outside of bowling.
Okay. Did you guys go on outings outside of bowling prior to the baby being born? How frequent was that? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, once a month we would try and go to a new restaurant and have a night out on the weekends maybe, or if we wanted to go try a happy hour or something like that, we would just kind of go and chat, or we like to do movies too.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe once a month I would do that with them.
Okay.
Outside of bowling and just the three of us.
That sounds like a great time that you guys are able to get together and have some fun, kind of have a little escape from family and work. So I just want to touch on your relationship with your husband. Could you tell me how you guys met?
Oh yeah. We went to high school together. Like we were both in band, and we had a lot of the same friends. And then, you know, we dated all throughout high school, and then like he decided that he wanted to go to college, so then I was like, well, I should probably go too. And I just kind of picked like a random communication degree because that was kind of general. But we like dated kind of then like on and off throughout college. I knew he was kind of like seeing other people and things like that. But then at like the very end of my college, like I got pregnant, so then we decided we should probably get married.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Were you guys mutually exclusive throughout college, or was it more of an open relationship that he was seeing other women?
Like I wasn't seeing anybody else, but I just kind of knew that he didn't want to be in, like he was gonna go see other people.
Okay.
So yeah.
That sounds like it might have been a little harder on you.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to break up with him because I loved him, but I knew that he needed that at the time, and I didn't want to scare him away. And then especially once I got pregnant, I was like, I can't raise a baby on my own. So
Right. Yeah, that would be challenging. So just now you referenced that I loved him. How are your feelings towards him now? Are you still in love?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Great. Just want to touch on that. So how was I know you're pretty close with your parents. What was their reaction when you got pregnant and decided to marry right after?
Oh, not so great because they're kind of religious, and I mean, they wanted us to get married, but they were not happy that I was pregnant. So that was kind of a rough patch in our relationship, and they didn't really talk to me when they first found out about it, until actually, like, they didn't come to our wedding.
Oh, wow.
But then when the baby was born, then they like realized, oh, we're grandparents now, so we should probably be involved. So then they decided that they wanted to like come back and be in our lives.
Okay.
So it was kind of a rough patch for a little bit, but
Yeah, that would be pretty challenging.
yeah.
How would you say the relationship is now with the kids a couple years older? And
Yeah, it's better. It's definitely better for sure. And they help us out with the kids, and they love being grandparents. And I think they kind of got over their issues and their whatever. Yeah, they got over it.
that's good to hear. Let's see. So, how about looking at some of your strengths that you've been able to utilize, throughout your life? It sounds like you've had some stressful situations. I mean, going to school, finding out you're pregnant, rough patch with your parents. What are some strengths that you think that you've been able to utilize to get through those times in your life?
Well, let's see. When I was pregnant, I talked to my sister a lot because she already had kids.
Okay.
So I was really freaked out and not planning on it, but I could talk to her and call her about things and ask her when I was like feeling bad if that was normal. So I would say that she was definitely one of my ways that I got through like the pregnancy and all that. And yeah, the same with when my parents were being idiots, because she knew them and how challenging that they could be. So we bonded over that too.
Okay.
And kind of just said, yeah, mom and dad are being nuts again, like let them go off and eventually they'll figure it out. So I think it was the big support for me to have her at that time.
Right.
Also, I just like, I guess I didn't really let it bother me that much because I was like, it's my life, it's not theirs. And I didn't need their approval. Like, it was fine. Like I said, they didn't come to our wedding, so that was their choice, and they didn't need to be there if they didn't want to be.
I'm glad your sister was able to support you through those times. How is your relationship? How would you describe their like relationship with your sister now?
It's still pretty good. She, like, I don't get to talk to her that much. She moved away to the UK.
Oh wow.
Yeah, her husband got a big fancy job there, and so she's overseas right now. And we have things on our phone that we can communicate through, but it's a 6-hour time difference. So like when I wake up in the morning, she's like at work, and then by the time I get out of work, she's like asleep. Right. So I would say that we still have a good relationship, but I haven't talked to her that much.
Okay. Is that something you would like to improve upon? Talking with her more?
Yeah, I mean, I wish we could. I don't really know when.
Right, it's hard with the time change.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I have a question for you. If you were able to wake up tomorrow morning and you had no stress, you felt like there was no weight on your shoulders, how would you describe that to me? Just how would you feel, not being stressed? What would that look like?
I don't know. I think I would just feel like lighter. Like right now everything feels so heavy and like it's bearing down on me. So God, if I didn't have to worry about anything and there was no stress, I would just feel like really light, I think.
Right.
Did that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense, definitely. I'm just gonna write that down.
No, that's
quick.
okay.
So I know you mentioned earlier that you don't necessarily want to talk to your husband about the stress that you're feeling, but maybe we can just kind of imagine what might happen if you did talk to him about that. And I'm not saying that you have to talk to him about that. By all means, you do not need to. But what do you think his reaction might be if you voiced your stress to him?
I think he would probably just be like, brush it off, like it's not that big of a deal, why are you worrying about this? Everything like always works out in the end, it'll be fine, we're fine, like he just thinks, everything just like magically happens. And he doesn't see like that I make all of the things happen behind the scenes.
Yeah, you
and
do
that
a lot of work, I'm sure.
Yeah, if I didn't like cook and clean our house, it would be a disaster. And and I'll make sure that the kids got everywhere they needed to be, and make sure everybody has their lunches made and their whatever they need. Like he just thinks like, oh, it would be fine, but it wouldn't. because nobody would be doing it.
Right, right. That sounds like it would be hard. I'm wondering, you just stated that there's a lot of chores that you do right now, especially in the household. Is there anything that your husband does or is able to help you out with around the house?
Yeah, he like cuts the grass and takes the garbage out. Sometimes he'll like, he shovels in the winter. But he likes to play a lot of video games, so that's what he spends a lot of his free time doing. When he's at home, he says he like works really hard, and that if he works all day, like he doesn't want to come home and work.
Right.
So he has those things, and you know, we kind of have divided things up into like what we each like to do.
Okay, that makes sense. So you've kind of set into a routine in these last couple of years, dividing the housework up. Do your parents ever help out with any chores?
No, I mean, they're older, and I don't really feel right asking them to help out with stuff around the house. Because it will take them so much longer to do it than it will take me. And you know, sometimes they're like playing with the kids, and I'd rather have them do that than have them worrying about keeping the house clean. They're not like that dirty or anything.
Okay.
And yeah, I feel like it would just kind of be weird to have them cleaning my house. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, that makes sense. Thank you for sharing. Do you feel like any of this stress may be relieved within the next couple of weeks once you become more familiar with your routine?
I don't think so, because at work right now, I just don't feel like I'm ever going to be able to catch up, and that, and I don't really feel like I'll ever really feel that comfortable, or that I'll know what I'm doing. It's just so much to do, and also my boss, he's kind of like a hoverer. He like checks in all the time, and I don't know if he feels like I don't know what I'm doing, or that's just how he is, but he's always around and just like, what are you doing? How's it going? Are you like kind of asking those questions every hour to me?
Wow.
Yeah. So he's done that ever since I started.
Oh,
So I don't really
okay.
think that he's gonna stop doing that.
Okay. If I can just interrupt you here, have you noticed your boss doing that to other employees, or do you feel like it's just you?
No, I think it's definitely just me.
Okay.
But nobody else is new there either.
Oh.
Like started at the same time that I did.
Mhm.
So I'm not really sure. I don't know if he's like OCD or what, but sometimes I think he just doesn't know what I'm doing, that I don't know what I'm doing. And I don't feel like I know what I'm doing
Okay.
because I'm so new. But it's like, maybe I'll learn eventually.
Oh, I'm sure you will. Definitely. When you got this new job, do you feel like there was appropriate training, or I wonder if there's more training that you could receive at work?
You know, they kind of just threw us in there.
Okay.
So I might be able to ask about more training. But again, like, I don't want to seem like I'm dumb
Right.
and that I can't pick it
Understand.
up.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, if I get fired, I don't know how we're going to pay our bills.
That sounds like you're in a pickle.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a job where you maybe felt this way before? And if you did, were you able to ask for help?
Yeah, my other jobs, I was just kind of working at like restaurants
Okay.
as, you know, a waitress.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're not very challenging jobs.
Okay.
It's pretty easy. I think like the hardest thing that I had to do was memorize the menu.
Oh, wow.
So not like all of the things I have to learn now with
Mhm.
all of the medical stuff. But so I don't know if I'm just not smart enough for this new job and maybe I should go back to being a waitress. But it's like better hours for my family.
Mm-hmm.
It's like at 9 to 5.
Oh, wow.
It's not,
Great.
you know, we're like waitress. I was working at night, so then I didn't really get to see my kids. And on the weekends a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't want to go back to that.
No, I can understand where you're coming from. This sounds like a great job, and maybe it has some benefits that are nice to have as well. Do you feel like, you know, the way you're feeling right now with your job and just kind of being overwhelmed, do you feel like maybe throughout our time here, we could maybe role play and come up with some ways that you could advocate for some more training or ask your boss for help? I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that would be fine. We could talk through it and see how it goes. Like, I don't know if I would actually be comfortable with having those conversations with my boss because he's kind of intimidating.
Okay.
And, you know, I've had issues in the past where I didn't really bring up things to my supervisors. I just let it go because I didn't want to get fired from my other jobs either.
Mm-hmm.
But I would be open to trying it. I'm not gonna promise that it's gonna help or anything like that.
Oh, no,
But
not at all. I just want to keep our options open and help get you through this stressful time so you can go on to ideally a stress-free time in your life.
okay. Yeah, that would be great. Stress free.
Great, yes. You know, if you didn't have this stress going on, what do you think the relationship would be like with your parents and your kids? Do you feel like there would be any change in it now? Do you like more time for them?
Yeah, well, I notice that sometimes I get because I'm not sleeping, and then I'm so worried about, like, everything that sometimes my temper is really short with my kids, and I kind of, like, snap at them, or if they don't do what I want them to do, like, right away, I get really frustrated and annoyed. And I'm like, God, just do what you need to do, you know, like, I don't want to ask you 15 times to do something. And if I wasn't as stressed, I think I would probably have, like, more patience or tolerance
Right.
for them because they're kids too, and, like, they don't always listen.
Definitely.
And yeah, I think, like, my relationship, you know, with my parents, I don't necessarily know that it could be any better. I mean, I don't think we're ever gonna be super, super close. They were always really close with my sister who moved.
Oh, okay.
And so I don't wanna try and replace that, or like they had to move out of her house into my house.
Oh, wow.
When she moved to the UK. So, yeah, it kind of just is what it is, and we don't really have any other options for them right now.
Okay.
So,
what are your thoughts regarding that? Are you comfortable with them living in your house, or are you wanting different options for them?
I would really not want them to live in our house if we didn't have to. I mean, it's 2 extra people. We don't have that big of a house.
Mm-hmm.
It's already cramped. I wish that they could have their own space. But like when the market crashed, they just lost a ton of money.
Oh, okay.
And so they weren't ever really able to recover from that. Like they lost their house, and like nursing homes are so expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're not really like, I don't think they're ready for that yet. But yeah, if I didn't have to have them live with me, that would be great.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, what do you think they would say? Would they kind of have the similar feelings, or as, you know, would they rather live with you or have their own place if they could?
I think they feel a little bit awkward in our space. Like
Mm-hmm.
I said, I don't really want them to like help clean or anything because it's our house. Like I
Mhm.
don't really necessarily feel like they should be cleaning it. But, you know, then they also get to spend time with the grandkids, which is kind of a positive. So they might want to stay for that reason, but I don't think that they would ever choose to have to stay with us.
Okay.
You know, they don't want to feel like they're relying on us. They want to be independent too, and they were always like making their own decisions. So
Mm-hmm.
the fact that when they lost everything and like had to move in with my sister and not with me is tough on them. And like I come from a family where when things are like upsetting you just really don't talk about it.
Okay. That makes sense. So you kind of shove your feelings under the rug, in a sense, if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
Before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which, on the other hand, can kind of be hard too, to keep things bottled up and not be able to express that, especially with your close friends, not being able to see them as much right now.
Yeah.
It sounds like that would be kind of challenging. So I'm wondering, in our next couple of sessions here, and hopefully we can start this next week, but maybe we can expand on setting some goals or brainstorming or role-playing different ways to express the feeling of being overwhelmed, whether it be to your friends or parents or husband, and just kind of coming up with some different ideas or ways to balance that stress. What are your thoughts on that? Could that be doable? Or?
Yeah, I think so. I
Okay,
think I would like that.
great. That would be great. Yeah, and maybe we can look into different strategies to help repair that relationship with your 3-year-old. I know you mentioned that it's been kind of hard being distanced from him with the newborn.
Yeah, I would really like it if, you know, he would at least like hug me, like I'm still his mom, like
Mm-hmm.
just because I have another kid doesn't mean I'm not his mom, and I want him to have a good relationship with his little brother, like.
Right.
So it may be just a phase, I don't know, but it really angers me sometimes.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm wondering how the 3-year-old gets along with the oldest sibling.
Oh, they're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, they kind of run around and play their games and build things together. And
Okay.
yeah, they're good.
Okay, that's good. So at least there's some positivity amongst the 3 kiddos there.
Yep.
Good. We still have a couple minutes left here.
Okay.
So, I'm wondering, within the community, what type of neighborhood do you live in? Is it like an apartment building, a neighborhood? Are you in like the country?
Oh yeah, no. So we just live over in South Minneapolis.
Okay.
And it's like houses, neighborhoods, there's parks, that we can like take our kids to, and I would say we know a lot of our neighbors, that they have families and things like that. Some people are like older too, that my parents can kind of like socialize and
Okay.
get out to know. And then, my husband kind of grew up in the area, so he knows people who have been there forever,
Okay.
and he has friends there, so that's kind of our neighborhood, and it's a pretty diverse neighborhood, I would say. Some places are really not the best, but I like the fact that, not all the kids look the same at where my kids go to daycare and school, so I think that's important.
Yeah, definitely. That would be a nice perk to living in that neighborhood. Do you feel like close to the neighbors in there, that it could be maybe like supportive between the neighbors and their children? Like, do they ever play together and then you can chit chat with their parents a little bit?
Yeah, I say hi to our neighbors when I'm like out in the garden, and we see them. It's like not really in-depth things though that we talk about. It's kind of just like on the surface. Hi, how's it going? I don't know that I would necessarily feel close enough to any of them to really share like personal things that are going on.
Okay, that makes sense. Totally fine. I'm just asking out of curiosity. 2 more minutes here. Let's rewind and touch on you stating you felt heavy with stress. What can you describe that a little bit more?
Well, I kind of just feel like there's like, do you ever see those jackets that people wear, like vests with like weights in them? Like I have one of those on.
Okay.
So like there's so much piled on me that I just feel like things are like physically heavy, and it's like hard for me to get out of bed sometimes. Like I try to go to sleep, but then I can't sleep. And sometimes I'll just feel really down or sad and just can't understand why I'm not happy. Like I have all these things that, in my life that are good, but I'm just like not really interested sometimes during the day in doing a whole lot.
Okay.
But it's not like I can't go to work and do my job, like I have to do that. So
Right.
It's like I'm almost just kind of like walking around like a zombie.
Okay. Wow. So that must be challenging at times, I'm sure, for you. And hopefully within our next couple of sessions, we can elaborate more on that. I know we're running out of time here, but I want to thank you for sharing those concerns here. Those are very important, and we'll look into those more, and hopefully develop some goals as to your family and stress and feeling overwhelmed. Then our next sessions, do you have any questions or thoughts, concerns before we end here?
No, I think I'm good to go.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you
Thanks.
so much for coming in.
Yeah.